everyone, I'm Clem and welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be talking about the tropes I hate and I love. So I'm going to start with a thing I like because I'd rather not rant about all of this thing I hate right now at the beginning of the video. So we're going to start with things I love in books. A trope I really enjoy, and I think I'm not the only one here, is the enemy to lover trope. Like, I really enjoy when at first the two characters can't stand each other, and throughout the book you see that actually they like each other and they're going to end up together, or not, or actually they're going to I was going to say mingle, but they're going to kiss and maybe to fall in love, but not necessarily. But what I really love is throughout the book seeing how their hate change into love, or into, like desire or affection, because it's made with small details or small attention, and you're like, I see you, I see what you're doing. The other person is not seeing what you're doing, but I know what you're doing, and you like this person. Stop being an asshole and go tell her you love her, and I absolutely love that. Another trope I really enjoy is the fake dating one. It's absolutely amazing. It's the main thing in one of my favorite series, the Lara Jean series, and I love that because it brings so much to the story. Like, I love it because there is this secrets between the two characters, and often it ends up with the two characters actually liking each other, and I absolutely love that because it's a bit just like the hate to love trope, because you see like they're starting to like each other through small details, and I love that. I love the small details in books because I feel like I'm such a genius for like noticing them and like, I see what you're doing, yes, I like it. Something else that I like, but I don't really know if it's a trope or not, it's when books start with a prologue, and in the prologue basically the author is telling the ending, what's going to happen, and throughout the books you're going to see how the characters like ended up like in the situation there is in the prologue, like what's happening in the prologue. Like, it was the case for the last series. I don't know if you read this series because it's a very, very old series, but basically the very first chapter of the book is that you learn that one of the main characters is dead, and you're like, okay, and then throughout the book you see what's actually happening and how they ended up in this situation, and I love that because you see the story in a very new angle. Like, you're not like seeing the events just like that and discovering them. You in a way become the author and seeing all the details, and how like actually it's way more interesting, I feel like, because it's not the same experience of reading. I don't know if you see what I mean. I feel like the next trope I'm going to mention is not very enjoyed by a lot of people, but it's the villain redemption, because I'm a sucker for a good villain. Like, I'm a sucker for the Darkling, I'm a sucker for Kylo Ren in Star Wars. I love them so much, they're my babies. And in a way, sometimes you just want them to get a good redemption arc, something that's well done. I don't want all villains to get a redemption, and even if I mention the Darkling, I don't think he deserves a redemption and that it will be interesting. So yeah, I was saying that for me it can be really, really interesting to see a villain getting a redemption, but if it brings something to the story, like for example, I had this in my head. I'm really sorry for my voice, but like I just coughed for a really long time. So for instance, I have this story in my head where you have this character who is a villain, but actually is not really a villain, and is getting his whole arc of redemption, and in my head it's brilliant. I mean, a lot of things in my head are brilliant, but actually they're not. That's why I don't write them. But still, I'm getting away, like I'm talking about something else. So yeah, I really enjoy a good redemption. Like, I don't have a book that pops into my head with this trope in particular, but it's something I really enjoy reading, even if it's not at the center of the book. I always love a good redemption. The next one is something I like if it's well done and if it's necessary, and it's the trope of the worst impossible. Like this is the trope, the main trope in Aurora Rising, because it's basically the plot of the story. And you know, it's when in a book you have this team but they weren't meant to be together and they're not the best team ever, like it's not the dream team, but it's the one who are going to save the galaxy or the world or fight the evil. And I completely love that because it's a bit more realistic in a way, like what could happen if the Earth was going to be destroyed or something like that. But some teams would be not that perfect, and I love that because it's way more interesting than just seeing a perfect team, because there will be no challenge if the team is perfect. And I like that because I like to see how different personalities like that, just like in the Breakfast Club, like how they're going to interact and how they're going to work together in order to save the day in a way. And so I absolutely love that. That's why I can't wait to read Aurora Rising, because this trope, I really love it, and it's a sci-fi book and it's Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff, so it must be amazing. The last trope I wanted to mention, but I'm not sure it's a trope also, it's I like when there is food in books. Like, I like it. Okay, I like to eat, obviously, but reading about food makes it so, I don't know, so what? I don't know what I was going to say, but so enjoyable in a way. Like, for instance, still in Lara Jean, she's cooking and they're eating amazing food, and I don't know, it makes it seem so realistic, and it makes me feel like I'm eating with them because the details are here and I just want to taste all this amazing food. It was also the case in The Sun Is Also a Star, because they're going to a restaurant and they're eating this amazing food, and I was like, I feel like I'm with you at the table, like in between your conversation, like being the third wheel. But still, I love when there is food in books. It's not a trope, but I wanted to mention it because it's something I love. Let's get to the fun part of this video and let me talk about the tropes I hate, or that I don't really like, especially if it's not well done. Actually, the first two I'm going to mention are those sort of tropes that I like only if it's well done, if it brings something important to the story. The first one is the love triangle, because there are stories I like and there is a love triangle in it and I don't mind it. Like, for example, Hunger Game, but it's an old book, but still I don't mind the love triangle, even though I'm Team Peeta all the way and Gale is a freaking piece of shit. It's here and I can't deny it, and there are also other love triangles that I really enjoy. And there are even some books I want to write with love triangles in it, but I need to reconsider this, and I'm going to. But still, sometimes love triangles are here and they're not necessary, like, oh, they don't bring anything to a story, and sometimes it's just bullshit. Like, most of the time it's really bullshit, the love triangles. It's just here to, it's just like you putting a love triangles in order to have conflict and to have things happening in your book. And I can completely understand that, but I don't like that if it's not necessary and it's just here to have action in the book. Like, I don't really see the point. And the second trope I hate, because it's overused and it's often not necessary or not well done, it's insta-love. I used to love insta-love, but right now for me it doesn't make sense. Like, I know it's possible in life, but not all the time. And being attracted and in love with someone so quickly sometimes, like for example in The Sun Is Also a Star, it's not even a day, and not even Daniel sees the female lead and he's in love with her, like just like that, and you're like I can't like this book because it doesn't make sense. Like, you don't know this person, you don't know, maybe she's a killer, maybe she's gay and she doesn't like you, or I don't know, it doesn't make sense, and most of the time it doesn't bring anything to the story. Like, also, we could just be friends in this book, or, you know, just not even friends, just people like meeting each other, but the love story wasn't necessary. And this is why I don't like this trope. It's not interesting, especially sometimes in series. I'm like, if there are 3 books or 2 books or 5 books, like, you can build a romance between the 2 characters. You don't need them to be in love in the first book. Like, you can wait. Like, love is something that is built through a time, and I know that love can come very quickly, and I know it, but not in a day, or do it well, I don't know, like, do something. A trope that I don't really like is what I call the characters are way too negative. And it's something, I'm not sure it's really happening anymore, but it's something I found in several books, and it's when you have the main character and he or she doesn't like anything. Like she's really pessimist and she doesn't like how she is, and she's insecure, she's too many things. Like she has zero self-esteem for anything, like she's not great at anything, she's not beautiful. I mean she, because most of the time it's girls, but it could also be boys. Like she doesn't have any friends, like it's just too much a cliche for it to work. And so I don't like that, because for me it's a sign that this book is not going to be great, or that I'm not going to like the character, because if she's too negative about everything, it's not going to be interesting and I'm going to dislike her, because I'm like, girl, come on, I'm sure you're good at something and I'm sure you can find at least one thing you like about yourself. And I know it can be very hard because I don't like a lot of things about myself, but at least I have a few things. If you think really hard and if you work on yourself, you're going to find positive things around you, and it's going to be much more enjoyable and much more realistic, and I'm going to identify way more with this character than a character that's way too negative about everything. I don't know if you really understand what I mean, and I hope you do, but it's really something that's really bothering me, because it means also that the character is not really worked, and that is just like, I don't know, a sort of a cliche, yeah. Next is also what I don't really like, but I feel like it's necessary in some books. It's what I call the character know-it-all. And the best example in order to illustrate this trope is Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter and I love everything in it, but it's the best example I have. It's when a character arrives in this very new world or is confronted to a very new situation he never saw before. And he knows everything, he doesn't ask any question, he's super good at it from the beginning, and that's what's happening in Harry Potter. Like, from Tom 1, from the first book, sorry I said the word in French, Harry Potter knows everything. Like, he's really good at magic, he's really good on a broomstick, he can defeat Voldemort, like, he never used magic 6 months before 6 months, like, but that's okay, nobody has questions like, oh, it's weird, you know everything, you know this, but you didn't know about any of this like before, and you're suddenly this very, very amazing wizard. And it's also happening in so many series, like the characters are questioning themselves, of course, because like you're not stupid and arrive, oh, this new world is nice, okay, I don't have any questions. But sometimes there are questions, but the actions following up, like, it's not working well together, and it's a bit bothering me, because I'm like, really, I'm like, how do you know what to do that? Like, why is it so simple for you? It doesn't make sense most of the time, and it's bothering me. And last but not least, and it's a trope I can't stand anymore, and it's the one of the absent parents. Like, we have to stop either killing parents or not talking about the parents, especially in contemporaries. Like, I've read so many contemporaries where the kids are out there all night long, where they're going on road trips, but the parents aren't there, like they're not calling each other. Like, for example, in 12 Little Blue Envelope, the main character is going on a road trip, but at any time we have mention of a parent, either she calls them or even asks them if she can go on a road trip throughout Europe. Like, and I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense, because I'm sure that if I come to my mom and I say, okay mom, I'm going on a road trip, she's not going to say, okay, see you in 6 months, and never call me or never say anything about my safety or where I'm going or anything like that. And I feel like it's something way too easy to do. Like, not talking about the parents is in a way for maybe authors not to add those characters you don't really know what to do about. And I don't mean that you have to have the parents being really present in the narrative, but just to mention of them, like, my mom was on the sofa, she was watching TV, my dad was upstairs sleeping, or anything, like really anything. Just mention the parents, even if they are not important to the narrative. I want to be aware that they're here and that the kids have parents and that they are being taken care of. Like, really, really, the parents are important. So yeah guys, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you did. Also don't forget to like this video if you did. Tell me in the comments down below what is your favorite trope and what is the one you dislike the most. I would love to know. And yeah, I will see you next time. Bye guys!